Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swizz here on Boxing Day. Merry Boxing Day to everybody. Also, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, however you celebrate it. I hope you had a lovely day yesterday, but today is the best day on the cricket calendar. We not only have the Australia versus India test, but we have two BBL games coming to us tonight. So it is a full-on calendar. Strap in. If you're trying to recover from Christmas, you got leftovers, you could sit on your couch and watch cricket all day. Or if you're like me, you're about to head off to the game, and hopefully it's an absolute beauty. It's going to be warm here in Melbourne. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting day, but nonetheless, it should be a great one. For BBL last week, it was a great week for me. I was 96 overall for the round, which has moved me inside, well, 25-42 overall. So making my way up after that poor start first round. Well, it wasn't that poor, but not having Sutherland obviously was the big killer. It was the absolute game changer. But we are trying to head in the right direction. So this round, and there is some interesting teams on the double. We've got the Brisbane Heat, the Sydney Sixers, and of course the Melbourne Stars, who are rock bottom at the moment on the table. So what I'm looking at doing, and I'm look like potentially taking a huge risk here, because I'm going to fade Maxwell. As much as I love the guy, it's such a tough call to get him in, because I will have to leave out players that I don't want to, and just trying to plan for round four. This is what I've ended up going with. I'm going to use my boost, and I've got there the four trades at the moment. Out go the four Perth boys: Connolly, Turner, Berendorf, and Richardson. I actually was playing a lot around with holding Connolly, just because of his low break even. But with Hardy coming back, there's potential that he'll drop down the order. If they still got, if they were still to play Inglis, it'd be Connolly maybe down as far as 5. But there's also a chance, it could be 4. That might mean he might have a late hit at the end, but at the same time, he batted so beautifully the other day. He needs to be in discussion for the potential test squad, depending on what he does in the first class season, as an option to go to Sri Lanka, because he was a class above. It's the best way to put it. At Marvel the other day, and getting to watch that live was awesome. Turner helped me out big time there. Berendorf, and unfortunately Richardson. If I'd had Richardson to Lloyd Pope, I might have actually given the cash a bit of a shake-up this week if I'd gone Overton over short as my captain. So, that was kind of disappointing, but oh well. So the players that I'm bringing in, the two Sixers, Hussein and Dorcius. As much as there is a way I could probably alter my side to get in Maxwell, Akil Hussein's one of the best T20 bowlers in the world. So I really want him in my side. And he's been I've been sort of planning around bringing him in for since the start of the season. So Akil comes in. The other big thing there with Akil is he is playing the Stars tonight. The Stars, outside probably Max against Doiners, have been pretty rubbish. So there's a big chance he could absolutely go through them. Same with Benny Dorcius. So I'm hoping Dorcius, Akil, and Jack Edwards do a number on the Stars tonight. And then the following game there is Perth versus Brisbane. So the weather was a bit of a concern for the Brisbane Sydney Sixers game on Sunday at the Gabba. Now the temperature is 31 and sunny all day, so no worries there. So I've got more confidence. I was looking at Xavier Bartlett, but I thought for 80k cheap, I can get Spencer Johnson. But the fact that, the Gabba, especially the other night, was just an absolute batting deck, and the boundaries were quite small. Perth's usually not too bad. If you're going to have somebody, you're going to probably want the quicks anyway. So I'm sort of still debating between Johnson and McSweeney. Johnson just coming off that injury has me a little worried, but that's, so I'm kind of leaning towards the batsman. And also the fact that McSweeney's break even is just ridiculous. So even though it only says -16, you've got to take into account that is 2 games. So if his projected score for the weekend is 86. Now, last week he scored 138 in one game. I don't expect that the same thing, but if he was to come out with an 86 for the round, he's making 25k, which would be handy. If he does go berserk, well, he could be a 40, 50k boost, and it does make the job easier to get to, say, Sutherland back into the side for next week. So they're looking like the trade-in at the moment, which I'm outside of maybe swapping McSweeney to Spencer Johnson, Murr's back for the Stars as well. So playing the game at Manuka against the Thunder in their second game. There is a little bit of interest there with him. He's also playing at the SCG, so both games should assist him. So I have considered him. I think against my good buddy Grimo. I think Grimo's got the exact same team except for Dorcius and Akil, and he's got Maxwell and Murr. So, or it might be Maxwell, Murr, and he's running. Yeah, he's not running McSweeney, and he's running Walter. So yeah, we're talking about Dorcius, Hussein, and McSweeney versus Walter, Maxwell, and Murr. So kind of an interesting battle in one of our matchups this week. So so that's how my team is looking at the moment. Unless there's a late in or out, I don't think a lot's going to change. The big probably one there, I've got short there with the emergency on, but Anil already set up in case I want to take the vice captain score. Still debating between Akil and Edwards. I think that will depend on who bats first. If the Sixers bat first, I'll swap over to Edwards. If the Stars bat first, I'll keep it on Akil. So I'll wait for that decision before locking in my vice captain. And then I'll look at one of the Heat as the backup, probably McSweeney as a batsman. I do prefer like the all-rounders, but the two Heat boys are in such good form with the bat. I feel like there's enough trust to back one of them in to get a decent score, but I feel pretty confident that one of these Sixers guys should score well enough for us in this round. The other interesting part for not just this round, but it's going on to next round. So we've got only the two doubles next week, which we've got the Gades and the Strikers. So this is why I've been trying to work out a way to keep short. So I don't think both Buckingham and Scott plays. And if Scott plays again, that would be just a bonus. But with how my team's set up at the moment and sitting in that flex position is currently Thornton. So I've got so I've got Thornton, Short, who we got there, Overturn, and O'Neill already locked in as 4 players for next week's double, and then hopefully 2 of Baisley, Scott, and Buckingham play. Probably a bit more confident, but Baisley, and then if Scott, that's just a bonus. So with the 3 trades next week, which would be bringing in 3 Gades players, that would potentially get me up to 9 for next week as well. So 9 this week, 9 next week. And then followed in round 5, there is no doubles for anyone. And then round 6, we have Thunder and just Thunder, and then Hurricanes just again in round 8. So it's the future planning here is next week I would trade 3 strikers. Trade in 3 Gades. The following week, trade out 3 strikers to bring in Thunder players. And then the following week, hopefully bring another 3 Thunder so I can have 6 Thunder. And then the same again for round 8. Round 7, bring in 3 Hurricanes. Round 8, bring in 3 Hurricanes and set up having 6 Canes for that week. That's a bit of a future planning. So I'm trying to just maximize having the 9 players both these 2 weeks and then the 6 players for round 6 and round 8. The other thing you got to think about is probably who the Stars are playing. Stars are already out of contention, especially if they lose both doubles here. They're going to be shot. So it'll be interesting to see if they give other players kind of opportunities, play around the order. Like maybe say Campbell Callaway gets some more games up the order because what are they going to be kind of playing for? Which does bring in better opportunities for bowlers up against the Stars as the season continues to progress. So the Renegades play them in round 5 and round 7, which both are non-double rounds. So making sure you've got at least 4 Renegades players in for next week's double is important. If you've got more, even better, because not only are they going to be a good option for next week's double game, but round 5 and round 7, you're going to need a vice captain and captain option, and the Gades players are definitely going to be those options for sure. It's not. I think if you're going to go Maxwell, looking at Maxwell, fine, no problems at all, and he's just more than perfect VC because we know what he can do. For me, trying to catch up the field, 2,500 I think a lot of the top players are going to have Maxi. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm still going to be like, ranked outside that top 1,000 anyway. So what difference? But if he was to fail, and that's my best opportunity to try to catch up with, especially some of these Sixers players. So I'm hoping the game goes as expected and the Sixers dominate, and that'll hopefully, like last week, close the gap for me on those top players. Yeah, so hopefully that's given you a little bit of thoughts going into today. Enjoy Boxing Day, guys, and I'll be back for round 4. Thanks, guys.